Good morning, grade 8. How are you today? Miss, today we will take lesson 8 from chapter 5, graphing absolute value functions. What are absolute value functions? Actually, since we are, we're still in the same chapter, so it comes to your mind immediately that we are still talking about let's say a type of linear functions, or actually maybe when you graph this kind of functions, it will be, it looks like a line. This is why it's mentioned in this chapter, and which is mostly true actually. Now, but before we go and see the graph, let's define first what's absolute value. Okay, actually, absolute value functions, it's a function that contains an algebraic expression within the absolute value symbols. What is the absolute value symbols? Actually, it's this. It's actually two vertical lines, okay? And absolute value symbols, it actually tells you the meaning of the absolute value of a number, which is actually the distance from 0 on the number line. Okay, so if you take the absolute value of number 9, absolute value of 9, you will measure the distance between 0 and 9, it will be 9. And if you take the absolute value of negative 9, well, if you measure the distance between negative 9 and 0 in the number line, you will find out it's 9 too, because we are talking about distance, and distance cannot be, calculated and find it out as a negative 9. So actually, let's say absolute value, it's using this symbol to find out the value for same number in positive and negative to be in positive. So absolute value of 5 is 5. Absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Okay? Now, the absolute value parent function, actually it has, as you can see here, it has this form. Fx equals absolute value of x only. Okay? And at the end of this listening, they wrote for you if you understand the meaning of the absolute value. So we will be able in this lesson to graph and write an equation for absolute value, and we will describe the translation of the graph of an absolute value function. Okay, graph it, and then go to what we call it the translation of the graph. We will see what does it mean when we say translation of my graph. Now let's go to see the graph of the absolute value. Okay, actually the graph of the absolute value always it makes a V shape. Okay, it makes V shape, as you can see here. Two lines in opposite, directions, and they meet at one point. Now, looking at this graph, exactly here we are talking about the parent absolute value function, where, x1, y1, or, where when x equals 0, y equals 0. Its origin point or its vertex at 0, 0. This is absolute value function, or this is actually parent absolute, absolute value function, the parent absolute value function, where y equals absolute value of x. Okay? Time. Look about graphing absolute value function. Now, it's so important for you to know that if you want to find the absolute value function actually or graph it, what is happening to the absolute value function from the, the 0, 0 point is actually shift. Okay, we can shift it right to left or shift up and shift down. Now, as you can see here from the graphs, we are now the V shape is shifted to the right or to the left. Okay, now if there is now shifted to the right or to the left, I call it the horizontal translation. So actually there's a translation for, V shape or for the absolute value function. Now if its translation is horizontally, it means that it's going right or going left. I say you can notice that the number will be inside the absolute value. As you can see here, miss, all of the function will be between the absolute value symbol. If you see all of the function between the absolute value symbol, as you can see here, so we are talking about horizontally translation. And look, if it's shifted to the right, so actually, my absolute value function will be x minus number. Okay, if it's shifted to the right. If it's shifted to the left, as the first two here, actually the function, the absolute value function will be x plus number. Okay. Now, according to what did we say, let's here check how will be the the graph for example, y equals x minus 5. And look, notice that it's between all of the function between the absolute value, right? So what will happen to x minus 5? Since it's minus, so it will be shifted to the right from 0, 5 points. Okay. Now, what about x plus 7, absolute value of x plus 7? Since it's positive, so it's shifted to the left, miss. It's shifted to the left. How many points? 7 points. Okay. What about y equals x minus 6? Since it's negative, so it's shifted to the right, 6 points from the 0. And the last one, x plus 4, 6, it's positive, it's shifted to the left, 4 points from 0. As you can notice here, if the function, all of the function, x plus 1, x minus 2, x plus 6, inside the absolute value symbol, so my translation will be horizontally only to the right or left, okay? Now, as they see here, let's, I want to actually try to solve it, okay? I want you to try to find out the equation for each graph. Notice, for example, for this graph, actually, it's going to the right, so it's x negative. And here it's 2, so it's x negative 2. So actually my absolute value function is y equals the absolute value, or the absolute value of x minus 2. Please try to find out this, these functions, okay, or the equations, sorry, for this graph. And now look. If my translation is vertical, okay, as I'm going, look at these, graphs here, that my V shape is going up or down, you will notice that actually the absolute value will be only around x. Look, absolute value of x, and the number will be subtracted or added without the, out of the absolute value symbol. Okay, as you can see here, absolute value only around x, and the numbers here out of the absolute value. If they are actually subtracted, so it's in my V shape or the absolute value function is going down. If they are added, so the V shape is going up. Okay. Come on, let's discuss together, for example, this. As you can notice here, first of all, the absolute value symbol is only around x, so this is a kind of vertical translation function, okay? Since it's negative, so it's going down, how many units? 7 units from the 0, 0 point, okay? Here, look, for example, for this, you can notice that it's moving vertically, since absolute value only around the x, and it's plus 4, so it's going up from 0 4 points. Okay, and you can continue, miss, and solve. For example, here they want us to find out, the equation for each graph. Let's, for example, write the equation for this graph. As you can notice here, it's translated vertically, so the absolute value only around x. So I feel x equals absolute value of x, because it's going down, so it's minus. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, minus 8. So it will be absolute value of x minus 8. Okay, miss? And please, I want you to try to find out the rest and solve. Okay, now while we are